A lot of Jet fans wanted to trade down this year in the first round. Now, we technically did, going from 10 to 11, but there was a big trade on the board for the New York Jets, and Joe Douglas turned it down.
Jets, 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 Jets!
All right, boys and girls, welcome in. We are talking a little draft, hindsight, what would we have done type of scenario. The Jets were offered a big-time trade down by the LA Rams, and the Jets did not take it. Joe Douglas turned them down 2 different times, so we're going to get into that. But I just want to say, we already heard that the Jets turned down a trade from the Atlanta Falcons after they select Michael Penix. They wanted to come all the way back up to number 10, so seemingly offering next year's first-round pick and some other stuff didn't make sense for the New York Jets. But the Rams coming in with 2 different trade offers for the New York Jets, and Joe Douglas did not want to move back. So here is the clip we heard first. When the Jets were on the clock at number 10, the Rams were trying to come up for Brock Bowers.
The Jets are now on the clock, picking 10th overall.
If there's going to be someone crazy that comes and makes that big move, I would keep a wary eye on the Los Angeles Rams.
Let's be ready to really make some things happen.
Hey, Joe. Joe, what's going on? We would think about coming up there, but we got 52, our second-round pick. All right, man. Appreciate it, man.
A lot of people do not like to trade back in the first round.
He doesn't think they're going to move back this far.
So really interesting. The Rams tried to come up with pick number 19 and pick 52. Jets would have slid back from 10 down to 19. That's a little far for me, but I think I would have considered it if we were on the clock and that phone call was like made public to the Jet fans. Once Rome Odunze came off the board, I was kind of wishy-washy on where I would have gone at that particular point in time. But if you go down to 19, you're losing a lot of offensive tackles, and the Jets had the number 2 offensive tackle on, or what is it, the number 3 offensive tackle on their board. Not on their board. It was probably the 2nd offensive tackle on their board, whatever. But we got what ended up being the 3rd offensive tackle off the board. And then we find out today that wasn't the only trade offer from the LA Rams. More on this. After the Jets traded down 1 spot with the Vikings, the Rams got back on the phone with the Jets and offered their 1st, 2nd, and 3rd round picks to move up to pick number 11, along with the Jets' 6th round pick going back, pick 185. So the Jets would have had pick 19, pick 52, and pick 99, which is the equivalent of 1,359 points compared to the Rams would have received 1,267.4 points. So the Jets would have been the benefactor of this trade by about the equivalent of an additional 3rd round pick. So when I'm looking at this, I'm saying, man, that would have been really nice to get back. And even if you had to make some type of move to hop up a little bit higher than 19 from that point, I think you would have at least had the ammo to do that. I would have taken the 3 picks, I think, going back. Now, as far as the big board looks, this is where the Jets were. Obviously, the Jets were started out at number 10, slid down to number 11, and then could have fallen back down to 19. The tackles came off the board. Now, seemingly, if Brock Bowers was the selection for the LA Rams at number 11, the Raiders now have to make a selection at number 13. That is not Brock Bowers. And a lot of people thought they were either going to go with a quarterback, with all the quarterbacks off the board. That was probably unlikely. And the other option was going to be possibly going with an offensive tackle. They just lost their tackles. So it would have made a lot of sense for them to select an offensive tackle right there. And then it kind of goes down. And does Olu wind up going off the board there? Or does the order of tackles wind up changing because of the Raiders pick there? So we come back down. Let's say we're picking at number 19. There's a potential where maybe you're just saying, hey, Troy Fautanu. That was one of my top players. Actually, probably my top offensive tackle on the board that I would have preferred. I shouldn't say top offensive tackle. The top offensive lineman that I would have preferred the Jets go after because of that tackle guard hybrid nature of him. Now, the reason he dropped a little bit further than I think some people were expecting, we heard there was a red medical flag on him, and I don't know if we officially found out exactly what it was, but I know he was like projected right around the top 15 and then wound up falling to pick 20 to the Steelers. Steelers got a good player, I think. I'm a real big fan of Troy Fautanu. So if you ask me what I would have done in a redraft, this is where I'm kind of thinking. Now, obviously, the Jets traded pick 72 and pick, I want to say it was like 185 to go up to get Malachi Corley at the top of the 3rd round. So with this trade down happening, you're probably not going to have to go up and get Corley, and you may decide to pivot a different direction. Maybe they decide to take Corley or Roman Wilson or something like that at pick 52 or wherever they wind up picking at this point. But for me, I would have gone Fontenot at number 19. That would have given you the tackle to back up Tyron Smith and Morgan Moses in the event one of those old guys goes down, as well as giving you the insurance for AVT, who's coming off an Achilles injury, and you get to push John Simpson on the other side. So I feel like that would have been a really powerful move. Now, you don't know if he's actually going to be available at that point in time, and that's kind of the risk analysis that the Jets were probably doing at that point. Pick number 52, I would have gone Adonai Mitchell. Now, I don't know if that is the way the Jets would have gone or if they wanted to get more of that like slot type wide receiver. Like there's a real shot that AD Mitchell's going to be a monster in terms of like just an all-around wide receiver. I shouldn't say an all-around wide receiver. Kind of like the mold of like a CeeDee Lamb type receiver. And I loved me some CeeDee Lamb coming out. This guy's a freak with speed. I would have made that pick at 52 and would have been perfectly fine with it. Pick number 72, I would have gone with our interior offensive lineman. So, of course, we have Fontenot that gives you that positional flexibility already, but we still have the 2 old tackles and a guard coming off a major Achilles injury. Cooper Beebe played every position across the offensive line. I'm pretty sure it was every position. If not, it was guard tackle, left tackle, left guard, right guard. Lots of flexibility. He probably would have been an interior offensive lineman at the next level. I would have signed up for that. And then at number 99, I would have gone with Kinchins. The free safety out of Miami, that would have been the move for me because I think when I'm looking at our current roster right now, I'm still keeping an eye on the safety room. Like I'm really glad we brought back Ashton Davis. I'm a big Ashton Davis fan. I like Tony Adams, and I'm excited to see what we get out of Chuck Clark. Outside of that, I'm a little leery. I don't really know what to expect out of that room. I know a lot of Jet fans are kind of looking at some of the free agents that are out on the market at the safety position and kind of keeping their eyes on that. So if you're asking me, a guy that's kind of a ball hawk that we really haven't had since Kerry Rhodes, maybe we haven't had a really good free safety in a long time. I think this is the direction I probably would have gone. Now, I want to hear from you guys. Do you think Joe Douglas ultimately made the right decision selecting Olu Fashanu and then making the move up for Malachi Corley? Or in hindsight, would you have taken this trade? What would the other positions you could have gone with? Other combinations. Brian Thomas Jr. could have been there at pick number 19. I think he wound up going pick 22, 23, something along those lines. Maybe you go an offensive tackle in the second round then because you like the options that are there. I'm curious to hear from you guys what your selections would have been there. Let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, go Jets.
J-E-T-S